we are gathered here today for the master of all classes in the university. And this afternoon, we are privileged, so privileged. You know, it's not every university that you would get a vice-chancellor meeting final year students to impart in them. You can ask your colleagues from the other universities, and they will tell you that they will spend 4 years, they will never even get an opportunity to interact with the vice-chancellor. But we are privileged as a university because we have a vice-chancellor who is always willing to get closer to students to impart knowledge in them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Vice-Chancellor of UPSA, Professor Abednego Oko Amate. Put your hands together.
Good evening. And why does it feel like a graduation ceremony this evening? I guess it's dress rehearsal for your graduation. And I pray that every one of you in the next few months, you are coming here to graduate. I think this one deserves an amen proper. Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity, the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, the Deans, for this wonderful opportunity. They put me up to this. But I think it's a very good thing for us to do. We usually do this for the graduate school. But this year we decided to add the undergraduates as well because of the feedback that we got. And I want to believe that it's going to be beneficial to every one of us. As a matter of fact, I think that it should be more for the undergraduates and the graduates, because for the graduate students, most of them are working. In your case, majority of you are yet to enter into the world of work. So we think that this should be important for you. And so thank you for coming, and sorry for making you wait. But believe me, in the world of work, you might wait more. So maybe it's dress rehearsal. And I see the way most of you are beautifully dressed. Okay, I'm warming up. That's fine. So I see that most of you are well dressed, with the exception of a few. Obviously, that's not a UPSA style. UPSA, we dress well. And I want to believe that as you go to the world of work, one of the first things that you are going to look at is the way you dress. That's important. You know, they say God does not look at the outward appearance, but it looks at the heart. Now, we are not God. We are human beings. So we look at the outward appearance. So we will judge you by your appearance, since we are not God. That is why the way you appear is so important. So please, always learn to dress well. It can give you a lift that you never expected, just by the way you have dressed. And the few minutes that we have, we want to look at something that we have titled, okay, let's say this. All of you know what a CV is. Is that not so? We know what a CV is. Who said that you don't know what a CV is? There's a curriculum vitae, you don't know what it is, so that we clap for you. so that we give you a standing ovation that you don't know what a CV is. So we know what a CV is. And all of you are expected to have a CV, even for those who are already working, because you don't know what will happen in future. So we are supposed to have a CV. Now, there are 4 basic components that we should see on a CV. It doesn't matter how you arrange it, but basically those 4 things should be present. What we want to do this evening, to speak to you, is to talk about your life's CV. So there are 2 levels. It should apply to your normal CV, and it should also apply to your journey in life. But I'm more interested in your journey in life more than any other thing. So your life CV, much as you can use that to prepare your CV and use that to improve upon your CV, also it's important that you apply it to the rest of your life. And so please, I crave your indulgence. Bear me out for the next few minutes. I know you are in a hurry to leave, but there are some few things that I'm sure by the time we finish, you would pick up. So that's what we have there, my life curriculum vitae, my life CV. And I said, first of all, it should teach us how to develop a CV. But more importantly, you should learn how to apply it to your life. And that's where we go. Okay, so let's start. That's where we go. The first thing that you see is that you see, now give me the empty chair. Hey, Dr. Is he around? Okay, so what do you see there? You see an empty chair. You see the team that is about to win the premiership in the next few weeks. And, well, I'm not asking you to disagree. I have the microphone. So, but first of all, you see an empty chair, is that right? And as we all moved to this auditorium, everybody has a seat, correct? Okay, so let's say that in life, there is a seat for everybody at the top. But sad to say that many of those seats are empty. Let me explain. Simple. One of the things that we say in Ghana is that there are no jobs. But just do a check, daily graphic, Monday to Friday. And for each of the days, there's an advertisement for a job. The thing is that there are jobs, but some people don't qualify to occupy that seat. Now, let's also say that the top is not crowded, but when you are at the base, it's very crowded. That explains why maybe the eagle flies so high, because there's no traffic there. But the rest of us on the ground, we face traffic. This evening, if there is something I want to tell you, aim to rise to the top, because you are not going to face traffic. And to get there is what we want to discuss. So we introduce an empty seat. That seat could be the businessman's seat or the businesswoman's seat. It could be that of the managing director. It could be that of the apostle or the president. It could be that of that banker. It could be that of that lecturer, that vice-chancellor. That seat is there. And I pray and I believe that every one of us, come the next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, you will locate your seat, and I will see you seated in that seat. I sound like preaching in church. That's very nice. And then you see the Arsenal Football Club. You see 11 players. Is that not correct? But there are 7 more on the substitute bench that if you don't play your part well, they will take you out and bring another person. Or if you get injured, they will take you out, bring another person. Always remember, there are substitutes on life's bench. And if you don't play your part well, somebody will replace you. But I urge you to go out there and play your part so well, such that you are going to last the 90 minutes in the game. And that's why you see these two things there, the empty seat and the football club. Don't be substituted. Play your part well. And on that note of introduction, we now launch into the things that you must do concerning your life's CV. Let's go. The first thing that you must see on the CV, you may place it first or last, but it must appear on your CV is that you must have a qualification. Somebody say qualification. Oh, you can say it one more time. But I don't even need to say this, because the reason why you are here, because you are seeking to have a paper certificate. So it could be BSc Accounting, LLB, it could be BSc Marketing, Communications, Accounting, IT, Finance, Business Economics, whatever it is, you need the paper qualification. That's why you are here. At every stage in life, first thing you must look out for, that you are qualified for it. So the essence of your certificate is to say that I'm qualified. Now, I met somebody, a student, and he said, I don't want to go to school again. I said, why? He said, because I want to be a musician. Then I said, is it the case that if you have a BSc accounting certificate, you cannot be a musician? You still can have that and still be a musician. And have you realized that if you have a degree and you are selling wache, you can do that better than somebody who doesn't have a degree in selling wache, even though your degree is not in wache selling? Have you realized that if you are a footballer and you have a qualification in BSc marketing, you can be a better footballer than somebody who started without going to school at all? So it doesn't matter the qualification you have. No matter what you seek to do in life, by all means, have a qualification. And I don't need to belabor that point because that's why you are here. In fact, they tell us that basic education is up to JHS level. But let's redefine basic education. Where we are heading towards, basic education in Ghana very soon will become master's level, which is why you got to go to UPSA graduate school to have your master's. In fact, it's coming to the point that even when you want to marry, they will inspect your master's certificate to be sure that, yes, to be sure that you are also, because that's why it's so easy to acquire certificate now, master's level. In our days, to even have first degree means that you are bearded. But now, 21, 22, you have your master's certificate. And I encourage all of us to have it. And if you are going to have it, there's no other place but to have it at UPSA, obviously. You don't have any other place to go. So, that one. But that is important. If you travel outside this country and you have a problem with your shoes or whatever, and you are going to a shoemaker, that person has a certificate, which is why they even charge more. The way we do things here, we say, oh, he's an electrician, he is a mechanic. Those areas, you need to have a certificate. So they can even charge you more than buying a new pair of shoes. In fact, the typical electrician would drive a Bentley because they make more money than the person who just had a degree and went to look for work, because they understand the value of certification. Or look at it this way. You go to a doctor. Why do they display their certificates? It gives you what is called assurance that this person is a proper doctor. Or if you say this person is a fake lawyer, it is not because he cannot defend you in court. It is because he doesn't have a qualification. He may even, I saw in the papers recently, somebody who had defended the case for 7 years, and he had won several of them, and they still said he's a fake lawyer. It is not because his ability, it's because he didn't have what? Qualification. So your qualification gives you assurance. And I think you should be glad for your parents, guardians, loved ones, the legal and illegal ones, who pay for your fees for you to be here. I think they deserve a round of applause. Of course, I know about the legal ones because I see a lot of vehicles parked at the hostel, and I can tell some of those vehicles are not that of your parents. I can tell. I just by the look of the vehicle, I just know where it's coming from. But on a more serious note, qualification is important, and you must have it if you want to succeed and get to the top. Number 2, this way. Qualification is important, but it doesn't guarantee success. In other words, like we say in economics, it's a necessary condition, but it is not a sufficient condition. You can have this on your DP, your status. Your qualification is a necessary condition, but it is never a sufficient condition. In other words, just because you have a paper qualification, which you must have, doesn't mean that you do well in life. One day, 2 gentlemen had an argument about a fellow friend of theirs. The argument was that, in fact, the guy had been a medical doctor for 12 years. One said, since he became a medical doctor, he had taken care of only 2 people in 12 years. The other guy said, no, 3. They said 2. He said 3. He said, how did you know that they were 3? Because I remember 2. He said, I know because all the 3 I attended their funerals. In other words, when that doctor takes care of you, straight to Audome. Meanwhile, he passed his examinations at the medical school. But just because you pass your examinations does not mean that you will do well. And that leads us to the next point, experience. Say with me, experience. Experience. You need experience aside your qualifications. So the CV, first one, your qualifications. So if you watch, when they advertise for a position, they will say, give us the experience you have. Some will say 5 years, 10 years. And the typical student will say, how do I get that experience if I just came out from the university? So you are looking at it and said, okay, BSc accounting. The person should have had 5 years experience in the balancing of the books. And you are looking at yourself to say, but I just left UPSC with a second class upper, with a second class lower, with first class, with third class. What kind of experience do they expect me to have? But what we have not read, they didn't say experience from Barclays Bank. They didn't say experience from Unilever. They didn't say experience from University of Professional Studies. They never, all they said was what? Experience, and they give the details. In other words, experience doesn't have to come from formal institutions. It can come from informal institutions. So the balancing of the books doesn't have to be at Barclays or Stanchart. You still can acquire that experience without going to any formal institution. How? For example, your mother has a small chop bar place. You go and eat, belch, and get up and go. Meanwhile, all that your mother does is that when he gets the money, he puts them into a box. Then takes the money and then sends it to the bank. No bookkeeping. You are a BSc accounting student, level 200, 300. Can't you help your mother to do a simple bookkeeping and say, Mama, this work that you are doing, you must know how much you earn, how much goes out, and help your mother to keep the books. Or a marketing student, you notice that people come to the place. Can't you teach the workers there simple customer service? What you were taught in class, why don't you use them as guinea pigs and apply it on them? Or the communications that you are learning, your church group, can't you teach them the basic sender and receiver, encoding and decoding? These things that you do are all part of what? Experience. Or within the catchment area of UPSC, there are people who are doing business, informal. With your knowledge that you have been at UPSC for 3 years, can't you help 3-4 people and say, give me a letter to show that I have come to teach you this? They may not even be able to write a letter, but you would draft it for them, then they sign or thumbprint and give it to you. So that tomorrow when you apply for a job and they say, we need people with experience, you will say, this is my experience. Every job will require you to have experience. And you don't need to go work for anybody to get the experience. As a matter of fact, we allow all of you to do internship so that you gain experience. Sad to say that a lot of you don't even do the internship. And then you just go and sit at home, then you fake the report and bring it to us. We also collect it, and we mark for you, and give you an A, but you have not learned anything. You pretend to be working, we also pretend to be marking, and we balance the books. But you have not gained any experience. But you need that experience in life. So it doesn't matter where you are, whether it's your place of worship, whether it is your home, whether it is the surroundings, UPSA, you still can gain some experience. And I want to encourage you, as you leave this university now, great to finish school, but before you start your national service, volunteer to gain experience. And don't focus on the money. I'll come to that. These days, the focus is always about what people can give, what people can pay. So you are focusing on that. You are in a hurry to make money. But to tell you the truth, I would not be standing here if I didn't volunteer to gain an experience. So here I am, 1992, how many years now? 32 years now. I finished University of Ghana, economics, major. They said the world is in front of you. 1992, University of Ghana, we were two in a room. If you get another person, they say it's a preacher. It's inconveniencing you. University of Ghana, at the time, the entire population was about 5,000. Today, they are 40,000 plus. So we had a lot of luxury. Even then, we were talking about the good old days, that people enjoyed more than we did. Now I finished University of Ghana. We had plans. You know, when you are young, you have plans. Okay, I do my national service. When I finish, I'll work with Barclays. When I work about 2 years, I will buy a baby Benz. Those days, there was a car called baby Benz. Okay, buy baby Benz. I will marry. I will have 2 children, 1 boy, 1 girl. I have in my mind the way they will look like and all of that. Everything set. I have plans. And then 2 years after graduating, there was no job. And I'm talking about 1992. So if you say there's no job now, it didn't start today. It didn't start today. That was when the entire population of Ghana was just 10 million or less. Still, after finishing university, I didn't get a job for 2 years. Now, when you finish for the first few weeks, first few months, you have hope. And that time they'll be feeding you, you're happy. After 1 year, 2 years, when you wake up and they look at you, you know that you are not wanted. You are simply not wanted. And the question that will come is that, so when are you going to start work? As if you don't want to start work. And everybody will have to sleep before you sleep because you are becoming useless. And the worst thing is that some of your friends have better employment. When they finish, they got employment. They were employed somewhere. They are with Bank of Ghana, they are with Barclays, Standard Chartered, Unilever, Guinness Ghana. Those were the big jobs. Smith. And you meet them in town, hot afternoon. You are disputing your application letters, and you meet them, you are sweating. Your shoe, one is top, one is down. And they are in white shirt with nice flying tie. They are in a car, air conditioned. And then when they get to your side, they stop, roll the glass slowly. Charlie, how? They say, cool. Then they ask you, how are you? How are you? There are 2 types. One is saying, how are you? The other one is saying that, are you sure you are there? And you feel so sad. I remember one of them told me, Charlie, you are not forcing. You are not forcing. I said, what am I supposed to do? To jump into the skies? He said, you see? And the spiritual one said, you see, you are not praying. You are not praying. You see, you don't have faith. You have to believe God. And you are wondering. So 2 years, no job. Hey, no, nothing. Now suddenly I revised my notes. No longer Barclays or Standard Chartered. If I get public service, I will go. Now Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Finance, even that will be fine. Agriculture, I've lowered my expectations. Then I go to write the exams for the civil service. When I went to write the exams, the guy came. The day for the interview, there was a boss who came. He said, where is that guy? You have to wait 3 years before you write the exams. Clear out. That one too, I didn't get. I was at home. Then I saw an advert, primary school teacher. See how the mighty are falling. From Barclays Bank, applying to be a primary school teacher. How are the mighty falling? So I applied. When I went for the interview, lots of people, 1,001. When they got to my turn, BS economics, they said, oh, you are overqualified. I said, this one too. I went back home. Then the following, I got the message and said, oh, one of them declined the offer. So if I want, I can come. I said, I am coming. I was there, Star of the East, Taifa. For those of you that you know Accra well, Taifa. The school is still there. Class 5 people teacher. I was teaching from archaeology to zoology, English, mathematics, geography, history, Ghana. And every video you have to prepare notes. As you prepare the notes, then the students will get Charles Brown. Maybe now he's a big man. He will come. Sir. That man is worrying me. Then will also rush and come. Then I will say, sir, he beat me first. I said, Charles, why did you beat us? I didn't beat Then will also say, no, he beat me. I said, okay, don't fight. Go and sit down. That's the work of a people teacher. And then I have to do this just to gain what? Experience. Then along the line, I got, in fact, around that time, when they closed at 2, then I rode on CIM. So from there, I'll go to school to go and learn. They pay you peanuts. So I will go to school to go and learn CIM at Rivera Beach. Interesting, some IPS masters then were teaching. And then when they vacated, somebody in church said, oh, see me in the office the following day. It was Sunday, Monday, I go to see my farm milk. He said, let me take you to my boss. I went to see the boss. Then he said, I hear you are looking for a job. I said, yes, sir. He said, this place, people have been stealing the money. So what's the guarantee that you won't steal? That's why it's good to go to church. Because the day before, the pastor preached and quoted a book of Proverbs and said, many a man will proclaim their own goodness, a faithful person who can find. So when he said, how do you guarantee you don't steal the money? I said, oh, sir, many a man can proclaim their own goodness. A faithful person who can find. He said, you are a good man. Said, we are employed. I said, so when do I start? He said, when do you start? You are starting now. From the place straight up Osoka Depot. When I got home 7 p.m., they said, where are you coming from? I said, I'm coming from a good job, farm milk. Because there I can have a lot of what? Fun ice. But it was 20th December, 1994. But I worked there for 20 days, and I left. Why did I leave? 25th of December, I thought I could go to church. They said, that is our market day. They said, here, there is no holiday for you. If you are lucky, then once in a while, we'll give you 1 day. But you can be sure that day will be a Monday. I remember my uncle saying that, listen, these guys can give you money, but they will waste your future. So go and resign. And they were paying me 3-4 times more than Star of the East. When I went to the boss, he said, no, you are in, you can't leave. My uncle said, go and tell him I said you should leave. I left Fan Milk with pain in my heart because the money involved. But then it also meant that I could still attend my classes. Then along the line, VAT came calling. We started VAT. I was happy to get VAT because then that one, I'll be like my friends. I'll be in the white shirt and I'll put on flying tie. And I'm going to look like proper Kratchi. That's what I've always desired. So that when people see me, they'll know that this guy truly went to the university. So I get the job at VAT. After training, they said there are letters for us. I go for the letter. It says, posted to Sunyani. Sunyani. At least I went to Pemba College. But Sunyani, I've not been there before. I remember Setekpe then was our boss who said, young man, you walk around saying there's no job. You get a job too, you want to be in Accra. Either you resign or you go to Sunyani. After weeks, when they're about to fire me, I went to Sunyani. Is that not what we do? National service, is that what we do? You all want to be in Accra. You all want to be in Accra, and you want good companies. Now, I get to Sunyani, it means that I cannot attend the CIM class again. It means that my CIM dream has come to an end. Sunyani, I didn't know anyone. So when they closed at 5, I had a lot of time on my hands. So I said, okay, let me go back to Accra on the weekend. I get to Accra, I saw my friends who were attending the classes for CIM. Then I photocopied all the books. Please don't do that. Your copyright law will catch you. That time, it wasn't working properly. There are lawyers here, they are listening. So I photocopied the books and sent to Sunyani. And 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., because I didn't know anybody, I would just be reading. My boss one time was late. If I didn't close early, they saw me. He said, Oko, you are a very hard-working person. In truth, I wasn't working hard. I was only learning. In truth. Today, I confess my sins. I was using the time to learn in the office. So it was time for the examination. Then I go on leave, come to Accra, then I write the exams, CIM exams. When I didn't see a lot of my friends, but I was wondering, maybe they were in a different room. When the results came, I had passed 3 out of 4. I was sad. That why did I pass the 4th one? So I called my friends. They said, oh, they didn't write. I said, why? Because when they close from work at 5, they get to the classes at Vera Beach. They close at 9. Then they go back home. And they are tired. And they have to go to work the following. So they didn't learn anything. Here was I, who went to Sunyani and thought a dream had been curtailed. I was learning on my own. And now I end up writing the exams, and I passed the exams. Whilst they were in Accra, they couldn't write. Then I learned a lesson. Sometimes what you think is your weakness, you can turn it to your strength. I learned that. What you think that is your weakness, you can turn it to your strength. Indeed, as I speak now, majority of them did not finish the program because they gave up along the line. Because from work to classes, and they couldn't learn. I was there. In fact, sometimes what you don't know, they don't kill you. Because I was told that, you don't write 4 at a time. You write 2 at a time. But I didn't know, so I wrote all the 4. I thought I was not lucky enough, but it became my strength. And VAT, usually we are there with IRS. They tell us that here to be promoted, you have to take years. In fact, there are people who have been there 20 years. They have moved just one step above. By the time I was 6 years, I had been promoted twice. In fact, the second promotion, the entire region, I was the only person promoted. But here's the irony. The very week I was promoted, that same week I resigned. If I didn't resign, I applied to come and do masters at the University of Ghana. And the reason was simply this. Joy started then, and they were interviewing Kwesi Jonah. The way he was talking, I felt that I want to be like him. I want to be a scholar. And I used to joke to say, if you're a tax collector, you don't go to heaven. And I want to go to heaven, so I won't be a tax collector. But in truth, the tax collection job, it was paying. The legal and the illegal ones. Those who have an ear, let them hear what the Spirit is saying. The illegal ones. All right. The Zacchaeus type. People were building. So I left the place and come to Legon, apply for study leave. They are not approved when I came. 1 year after the program, they came and said, they are not giving the study leave. Now, the choice was to go back and enjoy my tax collection duties or to resign and attend school. Now, mind you, see the way I struggled to get a job. See the way I struggled. And now I have to stop this and come to school. When again, you can just imagine, I had sleepless nights to make a choice between going back to work and stop school or to stay in school and not know what the future will hold for me. Now I think about it and I'm like, what a crazy decision. Because I just opted to resign and stay in school. What it meant was that no more money. And if you're a tax collector that you have enjoyed so much, and now this one. So, in those days, the lectures for MBA will start at 7:30, and then it goes all the way to the evening because they have time in between. So people were working, and they will come for the lectures, then they will go back and come back in the evening. When I go, I don't have enough money to go home and come back, so I will stay. Where would I be? The library, and I will learn. My friends who will come back from work, because they don't have time, I have to explain to them. So naturally, I was doing better. And the thing is that because I was explaining to them, when they go to buy food in the evening, you know. I mean, the unofficial lecturer would have to also eat some. And because of that, it reflected in my grades. One lecturer took notice of it and said, "Who is this guy?" So I came to him and said, "I want you to help me to teach the undergrads." So by the time I finish the masters, I will go to his office. He will go and teach 2 hours. Those days we had tutorials. Then I will teach the 1 hour, and I will prepare. Boy, oh boy, I will prepare. Because I wanted to impress, especially when there were girls in the class. I wanted to impress. I wanted to impress her. So I will prepare, and I will dress well. And apparently there were some adults in the class. So when I teach, he said, "You are so good." So they invite me to Vaco Hall to come and teach them more. And I will teach them. And then their project work became my project work. So those is 400 Ghana cedis. Then they started linking me up to the executive master's program. That there's a young man, he's so good. So I'll go and teach them. So now I started, I'm saying all over. But interestingly, the lecturer I was helping didn't give me a peswa. And people were telling me that the man is not helping you, not giving it. Why are you worrying yourself? But in truth, I enjoy the teaching. So I'll go and help the man, then I'll do my galamsey, then I'll come back home. And I was all like this. Then one day, I see this advert. Now it's called UCOMS. It's on the Kaswa Road. It used to be IMS. So I applied to go and teach Siam at IMS. Then when I went and they said, "Okay, you can come and teach," people told me that, "Charlie, that man is wicked." But me, I didn't mind. I need something that can keep body and soul together, at least a formal job. So I was still having the lecturer at University of Ghana, a business school, and I was still going to teach at Kaswa. Sometimes you get so tired that you sleep and the car will take you fast. You still come back. You walk back. At the end of the month, I was happy. The guy was about to pay. Then he had a staff meeting. And mind you, I had not told the lecturer at UG that I was doing this. So Dr. Potter then calls for a staff meeting, and they invited me to. When I got, everybody was seated. Then he said, "I should take a seat." Then he asked me a question. "Did you say you teach at University of Ghana?" I said, "Yes." Experience. Then he said, "Who do you teach?" I said, "Mr. Adi." He said, "You mean Nathaniel Adi?" I said, "Yes." Then he placed the phone. He had this phone that everybody can place on speaker. They placed it on speaker. Then called. Then somebody said, "Hello." They said, "Oh, Dr. Adi." He said, "Oh, Dr. Potter." He said, "Oh, you long time." He said, "There's a young man." In fact, he just said, "Do you know a young man called Oko Abednego?" You can imagine, because I had not told him that I do this. And I don't know what he would say. My heart was in my mouth. The moment he said, "Do you know a young man called Oko Abednego?" the Mr. Adi said, "Oh, you want to employ him? He's so good." My heart went like, "He's so good." Then Dr. Potter turned and looked at me. "I knew it. I was only testing you." From that time, the relationship changed. Dr. Potter died about 2 years ago, but he used to visit me regularly in this office. And he said, "I want you to come and be the president of my university." I said, "Oh, but I'm here." He said, "Then look for somebody to handle the university for me." Now, interestingly, when I left that day, I left Dr. Potter's office I ran straight to University of Ghana. When the call was made, Dr. Adi didn't know I was there. So I ran straight to the office, expecting him to say something. Up to today, Dr. Adi never mentioned that somebody asked of me to see whether I was good or bad. The teaching for 1 year without pay was more than paid for by what he said in the presence of all those lecturers, that he's so good. That's what experience can do without looking for money. That is it. That's what experience can do. Well, maybe you doubt this. Dr. Adi is now teaching on our graduate program since he retired. He's been teaching IMC every time. And guess who employed him when he retired? Moi. And recently, we're having an interview. People applied. One lady applied, and the surname is Adi. I look at the face. I said, "Is your dad Dr. Adi, University of Ghana?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I'm sitting here to employ you. Go and tell your dad he gave you the opportunity to be a lecturer in this university. Go and tell your dad." And she's still working at UPSA right here as a lecturer. But do you see the experience without me being paid a peso? I invite you to go for experience. Just to round up on that, from there I saw an advert at All Nations University. Then I applied. All Nations private university. I love All Nations. But All Nations private university, you teach like what the experience I got from Star of the East, from morning till evening. I'm in Accra, I go to Florida. I leave at 4 a.m. I get there before 7. I come back 11 p.m. because you teach from morning to evening. And sometimes when you are coming back, at the time they had blocked the Ebri road, so you use the latter road. One day when we were coming, the card link of Florida, so we got there around Latamont around 1 a.m. When we got there, the car broke down. And then when we all got down, we saw a madman coming. The people said, "That is the god of the area. You say the Lord's Prayer by force." And then you have to go every morning. And you will teach morning to evening. And I love All Nations because All Nations, they don't want to sack you. They don't write to you. They will not give you a paper to teach. No course to teach. So when it's time for you to be paid and you come, the man will pick this and said, "So what course did you teach?" "I didn't teach anything." He said, "How can we pay you?" It's that simple. And so people are resigning every time. I taught at one semester, I recall I taught about eight courses. In the university, a lecturer teaches not more than 2, but I taught 8. And they are paying you something for private university. They don't have a lot of students. Then I see adverts for IPS 2005. And I applied to come to IPS, to come for the, after a long while, they called for the interview. Where the Twin Towers is now, that was where the block was. When I came, I saw a large number of persons. They were coming for the interview. He said, "The marketing guy should come here." I saw a lot of people. I was like, "Hey, me, what am I coming to do here?" And people are mentioning their titles. So they gave us a form to fill, the courses you can teach. Me, from University of Ghana to UCOMS to All Nations, I could teach 10 at a go. So I wrote the course I could teach, asked for more paper, and filled it. Then I realized that the rest were writing 1, 2. I said, "What mistake have I made? I should have written 2 or 3. It was my intent to get in. 7 people were on the panel. Then after that, they asked me, "Can you teach all of this?" I said, "Oh yes, All Nations, University of Ghana, and UCOMS." They said, okay. So I finished and I came out. Then, to my surprise, I got a letter that I'd be employed. I came to find out, of all the people who came, I was the only person. And he said, "This is the reason. At the time, 2005, IPS has started a degree. Those who were teaching were all professionals. So they have sent them to school to go and do their masters. So they needed one person who could teach several courses to fit in. Guess who was the one to fit in? The experience of all nations, the experience of UCOMS, the experience of UG has come to stay. 2006 at UPSA, if I stand here as a Vice-Chancellor, because I gained all that experience, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. So I said, gain what? Experience. And don't look for money. Money will come. So let me say this. You can write it down. Let's see. This one is a punchline. Money should not be your motivation. Money should only be an expectation. Money should not be your motivation. Money should only be your expectation. In other words, don't go into a profession because they pay well. Look for what you are good at doing, and after, money will follow you. Money is important. Money is important. But if you chase money, like it was said, money doesn't like noise. On day, it will fly. But look for what you can do best. Put your passion, hard work into it. Eventually, money will come. Which is why Auntie Monique can sell watches so well that when she passed, the entire country heard about it. But even wherever we stay, don't they say watch there? But how can one woman sell watch? I'm not sure about educational background, but she sold watch in this country. When she died, newspapers covered it because she did her job what? So well. That's the kind of passion you should have. So begin to have experience and don't be chasing money. I hope I make my point clear. Don't look for money. The way you are looking for money. Charlie, young guys, let me tell you. That girl you are chasing, that she's giving you heart attack. Relax. Relax. Just go to school. Improve upon yourself. Become a professor. When they see you, the girl will bounce you. You would drive a car, a Bentley. You will intentionally go and pass in front of their house. You ask of her. When she sees you, she will say, hey, is that you? Then she will tell you, I've always loved you. I will say, I've always loved you. Are the guys there? Yes. Take it easy. Take it easy. Yes. So she, now, said, I will meet you in 10 years. And when you see me, you see the difference. The big head that you see, I will eat well, it will swallow all the big head. Because money will come. So, experience. So, 1, have qualification. 2, have what? Experience. And number 3, skill. Number 3, skill. Number 3, skill. So, on your CV, you notice the major qualification. You said experience. I work for so and so. I did this, I did that. The third part is that skill or expertise. There are several words for expertise. Skill. Excellence. Perfection. Doing it well. Good at it. Those are synonyms. Skill, expertise, doing it well, good at it, perfection, best. All these are now. So what is skill? A person who does something so well. You do it so well. You can have experience, but the experience may be doing the wrong thing. Skill, you learn to do things well. So if you learn to type, you learn not to make mistakes. When they look at the page you have typed, they will see the way you have done the type, the font size, the justification, everything is perfect. They won't find one word that there's a mistake. It means you have acquired skill in typing. Whatever you choose to do, let's say accounting, learn to do it so well. That means when we come to that, Then we introduced apprenticeship. Have you seen that when we were growing up? You see plenty women, plenty ladies, and then you see a master, and then they are all standing there. They are all in blue or yellow or red. They are learning to sew. It's called apprenticeship. Or you see guys that they all surrounded a car, and there is somebody who is telling them something. That's a mechanic. The master is there. It's like watching Chinese movie those days. There is always a master there, and there are always those that are being trained. In other words, there is a mentor and there are the mentees. When it comes to skill, you must have a mentor. He doesn't have to be present. It's just that you learn the way they do things and you do it like them. It means that there's an investment of your time. Whenever somebody has skill, it means that he has invested a lot of time. There's something known as the 10,000 rule, that whatever you want to do it well, invest 10,000 minutes into that thing. So, if you're somebody who is skillful with playing the guitar, please go learn the sleepless nights to do it well. If you watch Messi or Ronaldo and you say, oh, I love Ciro, a good football player, what you don't know is that when all the players have gone home, he is still training. I read about David Beckham, the free kick taker expert. They said when the team had finished training, he alone practices 2 extra hours only in taking free kicks. No wonder he's so good at it. Whenever you see somebody doing something so well, it's not just talent, it is skill. God gives everybody a talent, but we use our skill. We create skill out of the talent. So you can be sure that, Messi has a talent of playing football. But if he didn't train, you will not see the Messi you see today. So the gap between talent and skill, it is training. The road and the bridge and the highway from talent to skill is training. You've got to invest your time, energy in training. For those of us that will love history, there was one man known as Otto von Bismarck of Germany. He said something that I learned it 40 years back. He said, Germany has its eye not on precious liberty. The great question of the day cannot be achieved by speeches and solution, but by blood and iron. Those who want to have skill, it takes blood and iron. It takes sleepless nights. It takes investment in time. It takes energy. It takes strength. It takes tears to learn how to do something well. So you have BSc accounting, first class, you qualified. But when they give you the books to reconcile, can your company rely on you? We talk about the experience. So UBSA has a finance directorate. They are doing reconciliation every time. BSc accounting, ICA, part 2, want you volunteer to go and learn how to balance the books, such that when you go to Deloitte or you went to Pricewater, they can point out and say, this person, when it comes to balancing the books, reconciliation is the best ever. And that reminds me of the saying by Alexander Pope, act well your part, for there all the honor lies. The excuses that you give, if you have skill, it will take you from the backside of the desert and place you in front. I'm sure all of us have heard about King David, is that right? But what was he? He was just a boy in the desert. He was fighting a lion and a bear, and there was nobody there. He comes to fight Goliath. I want to ask you, between a lion and a human being, no matter how tall the person is, which one will you fear most? Because me, right here, if a lion enters, I will look at this side. If he catches somebody, at least I'll attend the funeral. But King David was fighting a lion when there was nobody there. And his brothers were in army uniforms. And they were at the battlefront. They couldn't fight Goliath. Wearing the uniform does not destroy Goliath. Too many of us are in a hurry to go to the war front when we are not prepared. But when he appeared, he was prepared for the battle. I'm asking you to apply those things to yourself. That before you come to the lamplight, prepare in your backside of the desert. Listen, when you come to the lamplight, they will throw the light on you. And whatever mistakes that you have, it will show. When you appear before the lamplight, the light will be on you, and all your faults will be seen. Which is why train yourself in the backside of the desert and deal with all your faults and your weaknesses, so that when you appear on the stage and they throw the light on you, they will still see you as a perfect being. That is what the skill can do for you. Don't be in a hurry to drive the latest car. You want to occupy the seat. You want to be at the top when you have not trained yourself for it. Train yourself for it. And all the period that you think you are working for somebody and they don't pay you well, you know what you are doing? You are in the backside of your desert. You are honing your skills. Maintain a good attitude. I am learning from the boss. Don't say he makes money and gives it to children to eat fried rice and we are suffering. You are a learner. He has gotten there. You are now coming. No matter how they treat you, when you get to the top, it will pay off for you. I'm inviting you to acquire skill. I'm inviting you to invest yourself in training. I'm inviting you to have passion and good attitude. And when the time comes, you surely get to the top. And finally, so I mentioned experience, I mentioned qualification earlier, and I said expertise. And the final one that should appear in your CV, exposure. Exposure. So you can see a Dubai, you can see a New York, you can see somebody in a jacket and all of that. Exposure. That is to say, okay, so let me put it this way. Do you know that there's some of you here, you've been here 4 years, but you don't know American House? You'll be amazed. You don't know American House. All you know is from your hostel to campus, under the guise of being a good guy. Do you know that a lot of you don't even know your lecturers' names? Even the present ones don't know their names. How much of those taught you last year? But when we say intelligence, it is not book knowledge, it's exposure. Do you know why the sons of Bill Gates, etc., they will do well? Because they have a lot of exposure. They may not be good academically, but they have had exposure. Now, it's good to travel. The essence is to give you exposure. But you don't need to travel to have exposure. In fact, one of the places where you get exposure when you come to school like this, because education is a leveler. Education is a leveler. Each of us come from a different background. Some from Teshi, some from Anumle, but some also from Tasaku and cantonments. There is something about the other person that you don't know, you don't have. When you are coming from like my hometown, maybe you stand and you eat, and once I think you are talking. And you don't bath twice. In fact, you go 3 days without bathing. In fact, when they pass by you, the smell from your armpit alone can raise the dead. Then you come to school, then you find a nice gentleman. And this guy, he's been well cultured, well mannered. It's exposure you are getting. Then you get close to the guy. I want to be like this guy. He combs his hair. He walks gently. He dresses well. You may have just one shirt, but you always make sure that it is neat. You know what you have done? You have gained exposure. You say you want to be a banker. Mention 3 bankers that you like and want to be like. Exposure. You don't know how to use fork and knife. Attend the bouncer dinner, for example. When they say it is dinner time, watch where the fork is, where the knife is. Pretend like you are praying and open one eye and learn how to hold a fork. It is called exposure. Exposure will do for you more than what your qualification can do. They say if you know how to wash your hands, you can eat with the elderly. What they simply mean is that have exposure, positive exposure. Not the one that you are in the nightclub. You say, oh, VC said you should have exposure. So 12 midnight, you are jumping on the street. That is negative exposure. But gain positive exposure. When you watch an advert, don't watch for entertainment. What are the things that I can learn? When you watch television, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they do everything are gaining exposure. And when you have the chance to travel, as a Ghanaian, don't only have Ghanaians as friends. Don't eat only Ghanaian food. When you travel and you stay somewhere, learn their culture, learn their food. You know what you are doing? You are getting exposure. Because one day, you may work at the UN, and the food that they will bring, there will be no kinky. There will be no rice. But you should be getting the exposure now. I've taught you 4 things that you should appear in your CV. I said qualification, I said experience, I said expertise, and I said what? And in conclusion, if you never heard anything, I tell you these 4 P's. In marketing, they say 4 P's. Product, price, place, and promotion. But let me tell you some about 4 P's that you must apply to yourself everywhere. Number 1, always be present. Be present. Whether it is work, school, church, mosque, wherever, always be present. When they call for this meeting, some people didn't come, always be present. Number 2, be punctual. Don't go to work late. Don't go for lectures late. Don't go to church or the mosque late. Don't go to that wedding late. Don't go to that party late. Always be punctual. Number 3, always participate. Participate. So in class, you may be shy like me, but the class discussions, when they give project work, when they give assignments, you participate. When you go to church or the mosque, the church, join the choir, join the ushers, join the prayer, join evangelism. Whichever your strength is, join. Always participate. Don't be anonymous in class. Whatever you do, make sure you participate. And number 4, maybe the most important, always prepare. Always prepare. Prepare for class. Prepare for the interview. Prepare for marriage. Well, you want to marry, but you can't cook. You don't prepare. You don't even know how to wash your boxes. Yes, you want to marry. Prepare. You see, you say you want to marry, but you have never read any book on marriage before. You said you have never read any accounting book from cover to cover. Marketing student, Kotler, you never read from cover to cover. You want to be at the top, but you don't prepare. Now, what we call lack, in actual fact, it is preparation meeting opportunity. Don't wait to see the advert before you start preparing. Now that you are in 400, start preparing for the world of work. Gain the right attitude. Learn how to appear. Learn to do PowerPoint presentation. Learn all the computer skills. Because the boxer doesn't prepare on the day of the match. They do so way before. The footballer will spend months preparing for it, for a 90-minute match. Preparation is always the key to make it in life. Thank you very much.
Oh, why don't you rise to your feet and give the Vice-Chancellor a huge round of applause. Wow. I tell you what, if I attempt to say anything, I will spoil everything. Please have your seat. Because the impartation is meaty, is weighty, and I don't want to dilute it. I'm sure you are still chewing on the points that, we've been told this evening. how many of you have enjoyed the presentation? I believe that you have learned something new that you will take for the rest of your life. All right. So we want to give you an opportunity, just 2 people to ask questions. And I want you to ask questions related to the lecture. Is that okay? Don't go and ask questions that is not related to what we have discussed here. So the Vice-Chancellor is gracious enough to accept 2 questions. So quickly, wherever you are, if you want to ask a question, just lift up your hands.
First of all, my name is Jordan, and based on your submission, I'm in level 200, first degree, and I'm in level 200, first degree, banking and finance students. And my question is concerning having the passion for something you want to do and then pursuing on that. We have different school of thoughts, whereby others are saying, yes, when you have passion on something, you should pursue on that because you have the interest in it. And others are also saying, if you're not getting what you have passion in, try and then getting something and then having passion for that thing. Something that you have passion for, try pursuing on that so that you get passion for that. So I'm asking, how do you juxtapose between these two? Because in this world, it's not everything that you want that you get. So finding something and then gaining passion for that thing. Thank you.
Okay, I get you. All right. Okay, so I was seeing an example of one student one time appeared and said, came to me and said, my father said I should do accounting, but I want to do PR. And I am confused because I don't have passion for accounting. So I said, so what choice do you have? If you don't do accounting, what will happen? He said, my father will not pay the fees. I said, exactly. If your father will not pay the fees, he who pays the piper calls a tune. So by all means, do your best to pass accounting. When you have the first degree, then you can choose to do your PR. In that case, then, you will pay your own fees. You have satisfied your father, and you've also pursued your dream. If you insist on pursuing what you term your dream, you end up losing both. So, my advice is simply this. First of all, you need to keep body and soul together. So, my passion is music. But the question is, do I need to go to school? Or my passion is football. But not everybody can be a Michael Essien. So to do so, first of all, have the foundation, which is why I mentioned the qualification. Have the foundation whilst you still pursue your dream. Because usually, your dream may take a lot of years before you begin to see the fruit of it. To avoid the frustration, find something that is basic, like going to school, acquiring a certain qualification, and then on the strength of that, use that to pursue your passion. If you sacrifice and put all your eggs in one basket, you don't become the musician or the footballer you want to be, and then you become frustrated. I hope you understand. So pursue the basics. As for school, we all can attend. But not everybody becomes a good footballer. So pursue the basics, the qualification, and then use that as a basis to go to the next step. In that case, even if you don't succeed to get to the top of your passion, you still can be a disappointed footballer, but a good accountant. Yes.
Clap your hands, you can do better. Whilst we were here and the VC was delivering, we were joined by the registrar, Mrs. Lauren Jan. The VC and the rest of the management team are leaving us. Rise to your feet as we see them off. Clap as they exit the auditorium.